Let's talk all about AI in business. It's hosted by Brent Muller. Welcome to the Future Proof Podcast.
Hi, and welcome to the latest episode of the Future Proof Podcast. I'm your host, Brent Muller. I am joined today by Paolo Costa from BioLumen.tech. Paolo, welcome to the podcast. We're really excited to have you.
Thank you so much. Very excited, very flattered to be over here.
Yeah, well, hey, let's jump right in. So let's first off, right? You're originally from Italy, so let's talk about how your journey to becoming the founder of BioLumen is, and your career path, right? You kind of walked me through a little bit before, but kind of tell the audience about your journey to this one.
Sure. I graduated in engineering at University of Rome, and it's a very good university because Enrico Fermi, by the way, was teaching over there, so some Nobel Prizes there, but in mechanical engineering addressed to polymers. So my graduation thesis was an automatic factory to manufacture Kevlar, and I did it with IBM. Then IBM was really what was, I don't know, Google, Microsoft put together today.
Yeah.
So was very excited with IBM to do this, then was not clear that one day we could have automatic factories. And some people say yes, some people say no, many people say no. Of course, I was in the favor, yes, absolutely a factory can be completely automatized. And that was my graduation thesis.
You were spot on about that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why. I mean, I remember the professor we were working with who were asking me, hey, this is not a factory anymore, it's a giant machine. Maybe if you want to see like that, but it's okay, it's a giant machine.
Yeah, he couldn't see RPA coming down the road, right?
Yeah, and of course, then the power attraction toward the Silicon Valley. Silicon Valley has a mythical status toward us engineers in Italy, toward me especially. You see all the technology was coming over there. Apple was coming over there. Steve Jobs, the first personal computers, everything looked like it happened in California. So I was magnetically attracted. Plus, I was reading a lot about VCs, about this system to finance the innovation that is so different from what I could see for Italy, a career in Italy where positions are pretty stable, society very layered, and very little opportunities to grow up. So at the first opportunity I came to San Francisco. This was like 38 years ago, and it was I found what I wanted. And the funny thing, in 38 years, it is not the Silicon Valley role decreased respect to the rest of the world, actually increased.
Yeah.
So Silicon Valley actually has an innovation center, innovation area, whatever. Its power, its predominance on the rest of the world actually very possibly increased. Everything still come from Silicon Valley. Then all over the others copy, apply this, but still the innovation is here. So I'm very happy to be in the very center of it.
Well, they say that 65% of all AI investments are in San Francisco. So, I mean, you think about it, right? That's innovation, definitely.
Absolutely, yes. So that's where I am. So quite a few years ago, I had this, because I always like science, useful science. I mean, all science is useful, but I really want to see it in practical terms. So that's the way I see it. So as many of my founders have colleagues, we always see ourselves in the middle between entrepreneurship and science and scientists. So we see ourselves in that way, and we are kind of proud of it. At least most of me are proud, and myself all the time. I really maybe I flatter myself all the time and say, "Yes, where are you?" I define myself. I want to be an entrepreneur, be a scientist, both of them. So it's science applied to do something useful to solve the problem of mankind.
I like it. I like it. So this is your latest. You told me this is probably going to be your final one. Talk to me about a couple of the ones before that, and then we'll jump into bio.
Yes, it was much more commercial. We were making a structural part for machinery, for buildings. We were designing them. I mean, get the orders, designing them. Everything that was not in large series. One is a small amount, very expensive. So very few orders every year, but quite expensive. And we were taking, and one order could take 1 or 2 years to fulfill. And we were making this material all over the world. Essentially, we help to plan it, we design, we finalize all the shop drawings, we finalize all the specs, whatever, and then we assemble this material all over the world, and we're bringing it all over the world because we were selling it all over the world. So essentially, we were centered in San Francisco, but the business was global in purchasing and selling. So, and I passed from that business, the latest, to this one, and because in this one, there's finally some innovation. I came from the Silicon Valley, in the Silicon Valley, to do exactly that, high tech. I want to be in high tech. Instead, okay, I was making money, I was living very comfortable with my family, whatever, but there was missing something. So at a certain age, I really said, if I don't do it now, I will never do it.
Yeah.
And so I decided to close the old company, and it was a painful decision. Everybody criticized me because like you are ingrained in a routine that not necessarily is painful, but is really inside you, so you have to change. But when I did it, I felt really incredibly good because finally I was doing what I want to do. Not just making money, but making science, applying science in innovation.
Right. So that led you to BioLumen, right? So let's talk about BioLumen and tell for everybody out there that doesn't know, right? Kind of explain what BioLumen does. It's really, really interesting. And I get why you kind of push your chips on this one.
Yeah, I mean, I like food. I like to eat. I come from Italy.
We all like to eat, but you come from the best food, right?
I like delicious food. I like pizza. I love pizza.
I love pizza too.
And the problem that I tend to gain weight, and so I have to be careful because there's a lot of. So I remember I was in a flight between Beijing and Milano many years ago, and they were serving bad food. It was greasy, but I was hungry. I cannot not eat. I cannot watch everybody else eating and me just watching.
Right.
So, when you see food, when you smell food, whatever, you get a lot of sensorial triggers.
Yes, all your sensations trigger. Yeah, I totally get that.
Stomach juice go in the stomach, tell to the brain, I'm ready to eat, now you have to feed me, all this kind of thing. So I needed to eat. So they serve me the food and say, yes, I need to eat. But if I have to get fat, I want to get fat with good food.
Yeah.
Not with this food. If I get food, at least I have the satisfaction. I really enjoy food. But bad food just give you the fat and doesn't give you satisfaction.
Right.
So
which is a lot of the American diet, by the way.
I say, I really think that the sin of eating it can be forgiven if the taste is really good. If the taste is not good, it cannot be forgiven. So that's.
I agree.
I used, my old polymer knowledge. Hey, what about if I wrap the food somehow in a way that you don't absorb it? So fantastic. So you enjoy the food, you chew the food, you smell the food, you are fantastic, you are happy. And then the food gets not absorbed by the body. You just put it out. So
that's the theory behind, or that's the technology behind BioLumen, right? Is that your
Art started like that. So I spoke with my brother, who was a doctor. What do you think? Yeah, interesting. So I went deeper. I started to study digestion. I ordered a few books on human digestion, gastroenterology, clinical gastroenterology, every possible subject I could read, I read it, I became an ultra expert in digestion. Then I start to evolve a little bit. So I start to check patents, if it was free, if we have freedom to operate, if you file a patent, whatever. I start to meet some big doctors from Stanford. Eminent gastroenterologist from Stanford and eminent bariatric surgeon from Stanford. So, hey, you guys, what do you think about? So I remember I had this presentation to them, slides, whatever, and I must say they were all enthusiasts. There was especially one gastroenterologist who were really jaw dropping out. This is fantastic. Possible that nobody ever thought about this before. This is fantastic. Among the people I spoke was this eminent doctor, was a professor at UCSF, Professor Robert Lustig. Rob, the way you want to be called, the way I call him after so many years, was then, and is even more now, one of the 10 recognized biggest specialists in obesity in United States.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, possibly in the world. So we had a big doctor. I call him 1 hour call. I told him what I want to do. And he said, Paolo, interesting. Nothing worked out there. He told me exactly this word, at least what I remember. Nothing worked out there. You are one, mine. Okay, that's why. Interesting. So we met for lunch. Later, we were interesting and became the co-founder of BioLumen. It was really, he called this model very elegant, medically, clinically very elegant for the physiology, the way we work. Wow. Even because, humans, in the past, they were not eating the food that we eat today. They were eating a very different food.
Yeah, much better food, right? Much healthier food, right? Exactly.
Our digestive system is an intestine long 8 meters, is a powerful stomach, is a powerful mastication, because the teeth over there, the salivary juices, all this kind of thing are made for a purpose, are made to extract calories from these hardy foods, very poor in calories, that we could find in the savannah. So in the savannah, we couldn't find sodas, we couldn't find juices, we couldn't find... they were very difficult, low-caloric food. So when we were eating in the savannah, the food we find over there, even lean meat when we were lucky, if not roots, whatever, grains, all grains, chewed, we had all these things. I mean, I got the full body was extracting this calorie from it, and pooping out whatever was not needed, excreting, defecating whatever we didn't need it. And the percentage of food we were defecating was much higher than now. Right now, we absorb like 92% of whatever we eat. Before, it was much, much less. Now, our body is still tailored, is still for that kind of food. It's like a carburetor in a car. So he gets the gasoline based on a kind of caloric power of the gasoline you get in. If you put in a very different gasoline, very different for texture, consistency, caloric density, whatever, of course, you get a total discrepancy to what our body physiologically co-evolved with for millions of years and our microbiome. Because our microbiome, the bacteria we have in the lower intestine, they are not just a few germs over there. They are like a liver. They make some compounds that our body need. So it doesn't matter if you can consider or they are outside. They are inside, but they are outside. They still need those compounds. For example, the very famous short-chain fatty acids. For example, the butyric acid that is absolutely essential to the immune system.
Right.
Now, the modern food we eat today, they just absorb all of it in a big peak of glycemic absorption. We absorb fast a lot of glucose.
Right.
We get a strong discharge of insulin, and the insulin is bad for you. It is not the sugar is bad for you. It's the insulin.
It's insulin, right. It's what it converts to. Right. Yeah, absolutely.
And by the way, one thing that few people know, insulin, one of the side effects of insulin, give you appetite.
Yes.
So fantastic.
Yes.
So
Yeah. So
you
now you want
drink,
to eat more.
yeah, you drink a soda, sugary soda, doesn't have a satiety effect because your body doesn't succeed to detect this ingestion of calories for the way it works. No, you don't chew, you don't go fast, but give you appetite. So actually you become even hungrier if you eat those 200-300 calories a day of a can more of soda a day. You're going to get like 15 pounds more a year.
Yeah.
You see, that's many people don't realize it, and me too. I didn't know these things. Professor Lustig, this long association with him.
Right.
No, I learned all this kind of thing. So it was not just we want to expel all the foods, but we want to feed the microbiome too. Essentially, juice and apple juice are bad for you. Carrot and apple are good for you. Why? Because carrot and apple take a long time to get absorbed.
Right.
And some of the nutrients go all the way down to the colon and get the microbiome, feed the microbiome. So the microbiome, the good ones, chew it, this, and secrete the short-chain fatty acid absolutely you need. But with the modern food, everything gets absorbed, most of it, the very largest part, in the upper intestine. So you get this strong insulin response, and you get no good food that arrive down to the colon. And no good food means that the wrong bacteria proliferate. The bacteria, you see, is like a profile. A profile is a mix of bacteria. A lot of bacteria, different species are bacteria. But the percentage of them shift with your diet. If you don't feed them, they start to chew the intestine. They start to chew, you create leakage and you create a strong autoimmune response. So good food, Hippocrates, the great Greek doctor, 2,500 years ago, say good food is medicine. Food is medicine. But bad food is poison. Bad food, many of the immune diseases, the diseases we have today, actually the autoimmune diseases, are larger, then are more, then kill more people than the infectious diseases. So it's a major problem. So our material essentially, they co-evolved in many years because the problem was to make it. No, people were enthusiasts of it. Okay, but how you want to make it? You cannot make it plastic. It's not the FDA would love too much, you sell plastic to people. And it's not that people are eager, I want to eat plastic. So we have to make it with food. So we made the food. So the kind of food we made is cellulose. Cellulose is polymer, natural polymer material present in the plants. Is the insoluble fiber per excellence. Has always been in human nutrition because every veg you get, almost all of them have cellulose in it. So the body was used to cellulose. But the body cannot extract any calories from cellulose because cellulose is unbreakable, just some bacteria.
Okay.
Cellulose is just made of glucose, has the same identical formula as starch, but there is a bond, much stronger bond, beta-acetal, that makes cellulose much stronger. So if you eat starch, break down immediately, become glucose, and the body absorbs very fast. So I'm talking about pasta, pizza, rice, potatoes. This is starch. And
all the taste good stuff, right?
Yeah, that's good. And they taste good because our brain recognizes the calories. From there I get calories. Cellulose doesn't taste bad, but doesn't taste good. Tastes nothing because it's not bad for you. But the body say, over here there are no calories. The people in the savannas, they looking for cellulose, they died out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Cows, of course, the many animals instead digest cellulose because they have bacteria, some kind of bacteria in their four stomachs, the ruminants, that break down the cellulose, they get the glucose, and actually a lot of it become butyric acid that get absorbed to it. But we are not able to do it. So we cannot chew grass. I mean, in reality, you can a little bit.
Yeah, you can, but no reason. I totally get it. Totally get it. So then how does BioLumen change this?
BioLumen is we made like in a cellulose sponge that expands 100 times in the stomach. So if we eat if to make our food healthy, we should eat 20 or 30% of it in cellulose. You know what I mean? Who is going to eat? If you put cellulose in food, nobody will buy it anymore in the supermarket.
Right.
That doesn't taste good. I mean, my children, when cereal, usually 20-25% of sugar.
Yeah.
If you buy, a really healthy one, all the time I had to throw it out.
Yeah.
I had to throw it out because, they don't eat it.
They don't eat it.
Just really a certain percentage of population really dedicated to it,
Right.
they have the discipline to eat food that doesn't taste that good. So, I mean, it's physiological, the fact that we eat sugar, that we love sugar. Because sugar represents calories.
Right.
Very
right.
simple.
And your body wants the calories. Totally get it.
Our body wants calories.
Well, our brain really. Yeah.
And the brain, honey. It's not you find the free sugar in the savannah, but you find the honey.
Right. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So we know, the brain know what is sugar. No, it's good for you.
Oh, yeah. So how do you take then BioLumen? Is it a powder, or do you eat it with your food? So let's say I'm eating pizza. How does this work? Hand in hand with that.
Yeah, two ways. So we create, after years of research, a lot of money in investment, it was not easy. We create our sponge in cellulose with some other polysaccharides, means similar to cellulose, but soluble. Cellulose is insoluble.
Right.
But, in apple and carrots, you have insoluble, but you have soluble too. That's the food over there. You need both.
Right.
As a matter of fact, you need both. So we recreated the same thing. What's our trick? Our trick is that expand a lot. So if you put 30% of cellulose or some of these polysaccharides in food doesn't taste good. But if you make a little sponge out of it that expands 100%, 100 times, you don't need that much. You need just a little bit.
Right.
So by stealth, you can put in it, you don't even realize you are going to put, and then in the stomach, absorb everything, and the apple juice become again an apple. Carrot juice become again an apple.
Okay.
So that is our little trick. We recreated this delicate lattice of fiber. They usually get destroyed when you try to extract juice.
Yeah.
We are talking about a nanoscopic structure of fiber. That you see, you try to break a celery, there is a nanoscopic structure.
Yeah.
But when you extract when you extract the juice from celery, you are destroying this delicate lattice, and you are destroying the functionality of these fibers. So just ingesting the leftover from this extraction, like the fiber they are in commerce today, they will not make back the apple juice become apple. Okay, our value proposition is this. No, we recreate exactly that. Apple juice become again, for what concerns the digestion, an apple. So we make the food healthy again for you, and no sensorial.
You need a patent that.
Well, yeah. We have 6 patents.
Yeah.
So one way is to intake the material, like we sell right now, is under the brand name Munch, and the sales are expanding fast. We sell these Munch little bags that you just put in water before or after a meal, immediately before, immediately after. This powder you mix up with half a cup of water, you ingest fast. And then once in the stomach, they will do the miracle to expand again. Or we can mix.
Does it make you feel fuller?
Of course, make you a lot fuller.
So you won't eat as much if you do it.
Yeah, that is automatically come with it. Because, this expand, absorb whatever in the stomach. Let's say a stomach juice has an average caloric density 1.5 calories per cubic centimeter. So 1 gram of our material expand 100 times. So like 100 cubic centimeter. So 1 gram lock in 150 calories. So 4 grams each meal, 600 calories. So with 2 bags a day, suppose to take it out, half of your...
Yeah, right. You feel full. No. So Paolo, right? The whole GLP-1 craze right now is to tell your brain that you're full, right? And that's why you're eating less. This is a more natural synthetic way to do it the other way, right? Where you're taking it before or after a meal and you're going to eat less because you feel full in your stomach for real, right? So it's really the same concept, just in reverse.
You are really spot on. Thanks so much. That you really got the concept. It's exactly that, exactly you say. Yeah, the GLP-1 agonist, GLP-1 is for glucagon, like peptide. The glucagon is one of those compounds that a certain section of the intestine secretes when you eat. You go to the brain and tell to the brain, I'm full. I ate. Yeah, and
normal... for everybody on the podcast, the GLP-1s are Ozempic and Wegovy and Mounjaro and Zepbound. Like those are the weight loss drugs that we're talking about. What Paolo's talking about is using the synthetic polymers before you eat, so you don't need to do that because you're actually going to fill your stomach up and you're going to eat less, right?
Yeah, I mean, we in our sponge absorb a lot of calories inside too that the body cannot absorb.
Really interesting.
Yeah, so keep them on 50%. You defecate them, excrete them, but 50%, let's say, go to the microbiome. The math, of course, is all over the place because depends what you eat, so many things. But approximately that. So that's we do. Yeah, so they create, going back to 1 second to the Ozempic, they create this fake glucagon. They go to the receptor in the brain and tell to the brain that you are full.
Right.
Now, the normal glucagon get degraded by the body in a few minutes.
Right.
Instead, this glucagon is like a drug that stays in circulation for a very long time. Yeah. So you keep telling to your receptors, I'm full, even if you didn't eat anything. Of course, it's a very hard drug and it's not natural. Right. 40% of the people have gastroparesis, means that the stomach gets paralyzed. So you eat something can stay in the stomach even 2 days. So you feel nauseatic. You have a lot of side effects. And the muscles, the fat decrease 20%, 25%. So there seems to be a plateau. Doesn't go forever.
Yeah, right.
But the muscles too go away. The muscles too go away. And when you have a certain age, you don't want the muscle go away. Right. When you go to the gym, you don't want the muscle go away. You want to build your muscle. You want to eliminate the muscle, the fat. So instead, we are in the consumeristic side of it, not the hard drug, the consumeristic way, very tailored for the consumer. It's natural food. If you eat really good food, by far, most of the population would become fat and would have much better health.
Yeah.
Because apart this Ozempic, this Mounjaro, this Wegovy, all these kind of products, they do nothing to fix the food. You still eat food that are not good for your microbiome.
Right.
So you lose weight, and this is good, fantastically good for you because a cascade of positive effects.
Yeah, always good to lose weight, but you still need. The problem is most people don't eat the protein to keep the muscle, right? They eat the bad food. So they're not going to be better off, right?
Yeah, at the end, I mean, it's not the final answer, it's a good answer to the obesity problem. Finally, mankind has
one step towards it. We got a long way to go.
Still, Munch, our brand product, proposed to do the same thing, but from a gentler way, from a more natural way, essentially making modern food healthier for you.
Right. Everything in moderation, but who doesn't want pizza?
Yeah,
I want
pizza. Diets usually have an average, like 60 million people.
Short lifespan. Yeah.
So at the end, people, I remember when we were in PepsiCo. PepsiCo is the third largest manufacturer of food in the world. But we were in PepsiCo, in the incubator of PepsiCo. Professor Lustig started to discuss with PepsiCo people. And PepsiCo was telling us, but hey, I work all day long. I go home, I want to have my little piece of chocolate and my whiskey. You see, my little indulgence. If you tell me I have to eat healthy, I have to eat perfect all my life, I don't want even to live.
Yeah, not going to happen.
So let me leave some indulgences.
Yeah.
So that's our concept. Yeah, you can have your indulgence, still we can make them healthier. That's the concept.
So let me ask you real quick, because we're coming up on time, but I want people to be able to go try this product. So we're going to get to that in a second. So Paolo, so you're part of a big biotech incubator in San Francisco, right? There's what, 300 different products or something in there?
Yeah, I mean, we are in Indie Bio that is incubating more than 300 teams. The best, I must say, really amazing products.
Fantastic. I love it. I might have to come visit you. I want to see that.
Please come, dense of PhDs, really a lot of science, a giant lab, and we are over there. We have been there like 5 years.
That's
We've been there 5 years, and it's fantastic because you have the support of Indie Bio, that is great,
Yeah.
but you have the support of your colleagues too in the other team.
Yeah.
And the other team, and this is great. It's really nice way.
So,
For me, it was like go back to school again.
Yeah, you're back to school.
It was
And
super
it's
fun.
Isn't it fun to be around smart people? It really,
Absolutely.
there's nothing better. Yes.
Smart and good people.
Yeah.
Good
Well, I think I do the podcast. I love to be talking to people like you. So tell me a couple of things. One, give me something real quick that you've done with AI.
Yeah, AI we use all the time for research. I mean, the problem of our material is to manufacture it. It's really a challenge. It has to be made like a Swiss watch because you mistake something and you throw away the whole batch. So it has to be done very precisely the way it's done. And we are improving it all the time. We already did the 2 clinical trials. They went very well, but we want to improve it, power the material even more, need to get even less. And we use a lot of AI in research to simulate tests.
I would think biotech is deep into that for that reason. I love hearing this.
Absolutely.
And so my other question is, how do you see you growing this company over the next year, right? You're just coming out of clinical trials, right? They went well. Do you have to get FDA approved? What's the next steps for
we are selling it in online in United States. The sales are going well. They are increasing. There is a lot of interest for our material. Imagine that when we start to sell it was last year. I mean, it was in January 2024. In 10 days, we ran out of material. Yeah, it was for 6 months. It was a disaster. For 6 months, people were complaining, hey, where is the material? Where is the... So it took 6 or 7 months finally for the production to catch up.
To where to the product.
Yeah. So now finally we have a production. Keep in mind, every iteration of the product gets better on the other one.
Yeah.
Better than the other one. So
we are continuous improvement is a must in your industry.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Continuous. We are learning a lot from our many thousands customers because we get a lot of feedback. For example, we discovered that our material seems to be very good for gluten intolerance. The people that take it don't need
they have gluten allergies. Wow, that's a phenomenal thing.
Yeah.
If that is the case, that needs to be one of your target markets for sure.
Yeah, because so many people are gluten intolerant. So many people are badly gluten intolerant, and we start from some feedback. Some people told us, hey, I took before a cracker, just a cracker could send me to the hospital. Somehow I was in the house of friends, they give me this, okay, I ate, I'm sure I'm going to pay later. And nothing happened. Okay, then he tried again. So he kept trying more and more. Well, suddenly I can have a normal life. I can eat wherever I want. But Munch must be eaten within 2 hours of the consumer thing.
Right. That makes sense, right? Because your digestive tract, it's got to be able to catch up. I totally get that.
Yeah.
So do you sell it on BioLumen.tech or is there a Munch site?
I think both of them go. Amazon is on Shopify. You see BioLumen.tech would arrive to when you want to purchase to Munch. That's our brand name. And in the future, we are working to put our material directly in food. For example, chocolate. We made a lot of experiments and you cannot see the difference. You cannot taste. With money on the table, no, we challenge the other teams in the
you're going to have to create a whole bunch of products. Chocolate products are going to be, people will be buying them before every meal. This is great. This is great. Well, hey, Paolo, so would you mind if I want to get you back here in about 6 months again? Obviously, we're going to get you on the other podcast, but I want to check in with you and I want to see how this is going, because this is a phenomenal story, a phenomenal product, and I can't wait to see what happens over this next year.
Thanks you so much. Every day we get an offer from somebody. Hey, do this, let's do that, let's do this, let's invest, let's create a new thing. So every day.
Yeah.
It's great. It's really challenging. Again, the mission is to make the product better and better and better and better and better. Because
you stick to that mission, the money and all that other follows. Yes.
Yeah. The better it is, the more consumer friendly is. The consumer are spoiled. I'm spoiled. I'm taking it, and it's for me. Essentially, I made for me, and the wife and the daughter of Professor Lastic take it. My daughter take it. So my investors' daughter take it.
Yeah, I love it. You know what? Hey, you know it's a good product if your family and your investors who are doctors are all taking it. So
yeah, and I'm taking, because we know what we put inside.
Yeah,
we know what to put inside. It's very clean label. So,
well, we're going to put all the links below the podcast when it goes live, including the Amazon link, so people can start playing with or just testing it and using it and seeing phenomenal results. Paolo, this has been really fun. We will definitely circle back with you later in the year, but thank you for spending the time with us and telling your...
Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time, and this I'm really flattered by this honor.
Yeah, hey, Paolo, thank you for, like I said, for telling your story and being here with us. I think a bunch of people are going to be wanting to try Munch. And like I said, we'll have all the ways to get it right below the podcast. But for this episode of Future Proof, again, I'm your host, Brent Muller. And Paolo, thank you again. BioLumen, BioLumen.tech. And obviously, we'll put the links to actually buy the product directly. So thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
If you're ready to embrace change and lead with innovation, be sure to subscribe and never miss an episode. Thanks for tuning in to the Future Proof Podcast.